some of these around his ankles.
He probably does.
Yeah. Oh, well, he like that too.
Like I said, I know a lot of people know your grandparents, Chris, and you know they know the stories from the the movies and all that other stuff. But tell us about yourself. Like what are you all about, and what's the foundation all about? Yeah, leave me out. It's been trying to leave me out of this whole show.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's been crazy. So yeah, everybody, just so you all know tonight, Dana is going to actually kind of run the show. Well, hello. We are hot now. We are live.
Hello.
How you doing, guys?
Good. How are you? Hang on a second. We got something. Okay,
It
that
was
your
me.
phone.
Sorry,
Okay.
I'm trying to adjust
So
everything.
there was a delay on something. So, good evening, Harold and Butch. How are you guys doing on St. Patrick's Day?
Doing good. Not
Good.
bad.
I see Butch has some green on. Harold.
Yeah, Harold,
Not so
where's
much.
your
What's up?
green?
Hang on.
No. We don't need to get kicked off right when we get on. So, hello, Shelly. Hello, Don. How you doing? Sue, how you doing? Yeah, God, we got loaded up early tonight with the people in here.
Everybody's not getting drunk, or they're already drunk, and they're
Yeah.
just figuring like, why not?
I think we should definitely at some point do a shot of. I brought this just in case. We had to do some little tribute to St. Patrick's Day, so I'll probably bust this out at some point during the show.
He's drinking it, not me.
I didn't quite see. Was that Jameson?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was. I was gonna. Normally we do an Irish car bomb challenge on St. Patty's Day, but neither Harold or I stopped at the store and got our stuff. So
I
decided-
work too hard today. I've done that every year. Matter of fact, I think I'm undefeated. I'm like 32-0.
no, Becky beat you last year. I remember.
No.
I remember that. Yes, she did. Pull up. It's even on the Togs page. It was on video.
No. I picked up her can afterwards, and her can still had about an inch in the bottom. So she cheated.
Sue's going to be doing some
It's
Jameson
an
orange tonight.
flavor.
Carmen's
What's
joining
orange
us.
flavor?
Was that?
Does
Yeah.
it taste like is it taste? How would that taste?
I don't know. Whiskey and orange. It probably tastes like an old fashioned.
Hmm.
Old fashioned ish.
Interesting.
So, I mean, I think most people probably know who you guys are, but I'll formally introduce you. First of all, this isn't lovey-dovey time or We Are the World or any of that kind of stuff, because I'm going to give you guys shit at some point tonight. But these two are probably my biggest mentors in the paranormal world. Everybody knows that Harold and I are super good friends, and Butch is I respect everything you've done and how many years you've been doing it. And you guys have done a lot of stuff together. So these are the founders of the Toledo, Ohio Ghost Hunter Society. Like I said, I think a lot of people know them already, but it's just good to have a couple. I don't want to insult you by saying old timers, but it's good to have a couple old timers on to. I mean, you guys have done. How many cases do you think you guys have done?
Hundreds. Yeah. Probably hundreds. I don't. You do it for probably 10 or 12 years and you just quit counting.
Yeah. Yep. But Harold, you've been doing it for how many years? You're like 35, 40 years, right? At least.
I'm going to be 62, and I started when I was 15, and I formed my group. And I should plug this group that's no longer around. It was called NORG, Northwest Ohio Research Group, and I formed that back in the mid 70s. Met a guy in the early 80s, Dr. Ken out of Columbus.
Yep.
And he was kind of a mentor and changed a lot of the ways I was doing things. So ever since I was young, yeah.
He's a great guy to work with also.
Boo.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
Where's Boo?
Butch, how many years have you been doing this?
Oh,
Boo.
actually, when I was in my teens, I was into it a little bit, but not actually going out and doing it like we do it now.
Right.
I knew there was stuff going on, and I just respected that. And
Yeah.
and here we are.
Come on.
I don't think I've ever asked you this, Butch, but did you grow up in like a haunted house or anything like that, or were you just like out of interest is what got you into it?
Well, we moved a barn from one part. My dad and grandfather and them moved the barn from one
There you
spot to
Say hello.
where I grew up. And I think the land that they put it on had something to do with Indians.
Oh, okay.
Because every time we did a garden, I would go out after a good rain. Somehow these arrowheads would come to the surface, and I would find a bunch of them.
Yeah. Where was this at?
Out in Holland.
Oh, okay.
Out the road.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, obviously, if there's arrowheads there was some kind of battlefield or something there, or camp, or that's cool.
I don't want to interrupt, but wasn't the Elbin Inn, the bar, and everything was haunted there?
That was,
So
yeah.
that was definitely linked to the property, because I remember there was a lot of businesses out there in the 70s and 80s. They were all complaining of hauntings.
Yeah, my mom and dad owned Elbin Inn for
Okay.
almost 18 years.
Oh, okay.
And
I
they
didn't
were
know that.
always talking about different things that was happening back in these little cottages that was behind the place that people lived in.
They were all
Oh, okay.
haunted.
Yeah, every
Huh.
one of them.
That was a piece of property where everybody that lived on that property, stayed on that property, was experiencing paranormal. I remember it. Then once we met and began to talk about it, then that's when I linked it together. But I remember hearing about the barn stuff long before I met you, that it was haunted.
This one guy, he burned up in a fire in one of the cottages, and he would come into the bar actually and mess around, and somebody would say automatically, the guy's name was Skip. He said, "Oh, that's Skip doing something." He's so.
Well, that's good. How close? Trying to think, how close is that to that glass factory that's out there where people go blow their own glass?
The
You know what
Elbin
I'm
Inn
talking
was on
about?
Yeah, the Elbin Inn was on Airport Highway, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Airport in Elbin.
Okay.
The Fire Nation, that's right in
Yeah.
Holland.
Yeah.
Where the hardware store is supposed to be haunted. Well, it was a hardware store.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I knew various people that owned that, and I asked them after the fact that if it was haunted or not.
Yeah.
Every one of them said there was nothing ever going on. So
Yeah.
I don't know how it became haunted all of a sudden, but that's what they
interesting.
claim.
That's interesting. So yeah, like I said, I don't think I'd ever asked you that question before. So I wanted to find out like what your, beginnings were, if like, cause obviously Harold grew up in a haunted house and I didn't, I kind of got into it because of the ghost shows and things like that. So
I thought you told me one of your first experiences was Gettysburg. Did you see a soldier or something?
Yeah, I thought he did. We took a vacation. We were in Gettysburg, and we were going through all the battlefields and stuff. And I sort of stopped near the one where the Ohio Regiment was.
Yeah.
And I thought I seen one walking behind, the monument that they have there for it.
Yeah, a buddy of mine was out there and he took a picture of a historical house, and there was a historical, monument plaque or whatever on this rock. And he took the picture of it, and he was going through the pictures after he got them developed. And there was an old man and an old woman standing clear as you could see through them and stuff, but clear as day, standing right in front of that rock. Like it was, there's so many ghosts out in that area. It's not even funny. So
Getting back to Gettysburg there, I went to, I don't know, 5 or 6 hotels, and every one of them was booked. And all of a sudden I see this one place and it said vacancy. So I stopped and went in there. Come to find out, that was one of the most haunted places that was in Gettysburg. And we stayed up in like a little squeed up on top, and we didn't see nothing that night, but that's why nobody wanted it.
Yep.
No, it was waiting for you.
They were, yeah.
Well, in tribute to St. Patrick's Day, we all spent St. Patrick's Day a few years ago down at the Buxton Inn, and that's when Butch invented the Estes method.
Butch my butt.
I had to get a reaction out of you somehow.
Butch my butt. Yeah, remember we did that long before Adam and what's her name? Amy. Adam and Amy. They've gotten all the. When they first did that, it was at the Stanley Hotel. And I swear to you guys, I don't know if you guys want to believe everything I'm saying, but that was done a year after we did it.
Yep.
So I want, well, I got zero credit for it. So,
Well, obviously a guy named Estes invented it. And I don't even know how long ago that was, but
it's from Estes Park, Jeff. It's named after the city, which is the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park.
Oh, okay.
So
I just assumed it was some scientist.
no, it's named after the Stanley Hotel where Stephen King wrote the book, The Shining.
Yeah.
So it's named after the hotel itself.
Yep.
And
Cool.
I don't know why Adam and Amy were there, obviously investigating the place.
Right.
Yeah.
And they did it for the first time on television then. So
Don's
I did it the first time on YouTube or on Facebook.
Don's gonna sell you the copyright for the Name the Togs method. So just
You
warning
go,
you, better get your
Don.
check.
Hey, Don, thanks for your continued support. I will back you on this. All right. You know, we did that, Jeff, Dana. I think because sometimes we're both skeptical.
Right.
It wasn't that we didn't trust Becky, because obviously we trust Becky, but we were looking at each other, and Butch and I was always saying, well, just in case there's contamination, or just in case this. So what we did was I went into a separate room. Becky was in a separate room. Obviously, we were joining rooms.
Yep.
That whole time when I did that, and that's on, I think, YouTube. Either way, I never saw Becky, and you were standing with the camera
Right.
in the same room with Becky. So it was a pure Estes method in the purest form.
Yep.
I was in a completely different room that way. She couldn't read my lips. She had blindfolds on. She couldn't. There was no way that wasn't a real Estes method.
And that too, the interesting thing about that too is that I've had a theory that like sometimes you can sometimes subconsciously the person with the headphones on can almost maybe predict the questions.
Yeah.
Gear what they hear, but you guys didn't. It wasn't paranormal related, what you were asking her. So that was pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, I'm famous for the Estes method and the questioning using the Estes method. I'm famous for both of them, actually.
I think you're a little famous for coffee, but
yeah. What we do, we get completely away from the location, and Butch and I will ask the darndest questions. Like we'll ask, out of the blue, what's your godmother's name?
Yeah.
Out of the blue, and see, or we'll send different colors we'll use. We do that all the time. And this one was nothing to do with the Buxton. You were there. It was nothing to do with the Buxton Inn. Yeah, me
and Robert came down the next night, but then you showed us that footage right away because you were super stoked about what happened. But yeah, that was the first Irish car bomb race that we did.
And I won that one as well.
But I had to drink too, so I don't know I should get bonus points or something for that. Because Uncle Jeff couldn't hack it. He was like, nope, I ain't touching this. He slid it over.
Yeah, you did drink one?
No, I just had one beer.
Oh.
Yeah, that was all I had. Yeah, it was downstairs in the basement.
Oh, what kind of an Irishman are you?
I'm not. I'm Italian.
I keep forgetting.
So let's get back into So let's go back in history a little, or not in history. It wasn't that long ago, but one of the.
I mean, look at him. It's history, babe. It's
one of the coolest places I think that you guys have ever investigated that that there's no videos of it out or anything like that, but the story is really cool, and that's the Athens, Ohio. Talk about what took you guys to Athens? Why did you guys go down there?
Well, his son went to school there, and my granddaughter went to school there.
Okay.
And
why don't you be honest? If we like to go down there and drink on the weekends with our kids.
Right.
It was one of the #1 party schools in the nation, rated by Playboy magazine.
Listen, guys, and the 8th most haunted place in the United States at one time.
Yeah. Yep.
So, may I
go right ahead?
And then you got to tell us about the time when you were pushed down. Okay. I was lucky. I've always heard about Athens. I was intrigued by it. I was down there the weekend that Linda Blair and Scariest Places on Earth were filming.
Yep.
And Jeff, Dana, you remember how weird this story was. This doesn't get any odder. It's like all the stars are aligned and you're meant to do this. So you got to remember, the university, Ohio University, had bought up all the places on Dairy Barn Lane, Dairy Barn Road.
Yeah.
And they bought the State Asylum, the TB ward, all 17 buildings on the ridges. And now obviously the cemetery was state owned. So
Right.
I went down there one weekend and I met this guy. What was his name? Wolfman or Wolfgang? And he was working with a lady, and apparently I looked like an identical twin of her brother had just passed away, and she was really suffering, which you can imagine.
Mhm.
And she was reaching out trying to find a Sylvia Browne book. Now, Jeff, this is the weirdest thing in the world. I just stopped at the store on the way down there and bought 3 Sylvia Browne books, one for me, one for my mother, and I bought an extra one, and I gave it to her.
Yeah.
I told him what I did. Wolfgang, and I hope nobody's from Athens, Ohio. Well, he's 20-something years have gone by now.
Yeah.
He said, in lack of a better term, this door is going to be opened at 9:00 tonight.
Yep.
You got to be out of there by sunrise or you're going to be locked. And he's talking catacombs and stuff,
Yeah.
things of that nature.
Yep.
So I went down there 6 weekends in a row to see my son.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I investigated 4 of the 5 cemeteries. The Sim Cemetery you couldn't get anymore because you had to cross private land to get to it, and that guy would shoot you.
Yeah.
But they said that the 5 cemeteries in Athens was built like a pentagram within 1/10 of a mile from the asylum.
Yep.
Well, believe it or not, it's true. So
Yeah.
I did Wilson's Hall. I don't think you did these with me. I had the advantage of going down all the time with Butch didn't, and Butch then his granddaughter went to school a little bit later than my son, and then he went down and I went down with him. So
right.
We enjoyed Athens for 5 or 6 years, I think. Yeah, might be 8.
It sounds like a common theme in your life is that, like, your kids' events,
Yeah.
you always seem to disappear for some kind of ghost
Oh, yeah.
hunt. I mean, it happened with the Chicago.
The day of Nick's orientation, Nicholas and his mother would not listen to me. So I said I had to go to the bathroom, that I would be right back. And I was back 5.5 hours later. They were furious. But I went to Wilson's Hall and the guy said, okay, this is what we're going to do tonight. This was on Scariest Places on Earth. And
Yeah.
the door, it was supposed to have a devil, but there's a lot of truth to the Athens.
Yep.
This girl was worshiping the devil or the dark things.
Yeah.
They would meet in the cemetery and have rituals on the headstones that formed a circle. And by the way, those headstones are no longer there. She committed suicide in Wilson's Hall on the 4th floor, and they tried to paint the walls. They scrubbed the walls. They couldn't get any of the blood off because there was markings on the wall where she was writing things. So and now that 4th floor is gutted. Believe it or not, it's a boiler room. Who puts a boiler room on the 4th floor?
Yeah,
But they did. That's how much the university wants to cover this whole thing up. But I did Wilson's Hall. I did Brian's Hall. I spent the night in Brian's Hall where Brian Flick hung himself. You could tell us about the TV ward where we got some EVPs. We did so many places in Athens. And you and I got really close. I mean, don't you remember every year we would make a road trip?
Yep, road trip down there, and then we hit various other places.
So you had an experience. Tell them about the time that you and I were in the TV ward, and we had Uncle Jeff at the end of the road with the walkie-talkie,
right,
in case anybody was coming up.
We're supposed to be in this in the TV building, and about 2 weeks before that, I was in there. I took some of my granddaughter's friends that she was living with over there. I said, we're going to do a little ghost hunt. Well, they took off and did on their own. And all of a sudden, I'm walking down the hall and I get shoved to the floor.
Yeah.
Dude, I go down. I turn around. I thought it was one of them, messing around.
Right.
Nobody around.
That's crazy.
I went into this one room and I knew there was a big drop off there. And he's walking around. And we went down.
I knew it.
And he's walking around, and I said, you better be careful. Don't go in that room, or else you're going to go down about 3 floors.
Yeah.
he didn't have a flashlight with him. And he went over and looked, and he looked down, and there it was.
Who the hell walks around a dark abandoned building with no flashlight?
I had a flashlight. My flashlight wasn't working, and I was
Okay.
Here's the thing: I'm looking through and in those days, I think our neighbor's cameras only had 2-inch screens on them.
Yeah.
They're 3 inches, or they're different sizes now. But you had yelled, he probably saved my life. I would have felt a couple stories.
Yeah.
Hey, Harold.
Yep.
What?
At that time, you didn't have a Becky Dana or a Carmen, did you?
No, Dana, those were the good old days.
You had to rely on Butch to say.
You had to rely on each other and not have the females
Well,
to
listen,
check the batteries. And
everybody knows that I've put my life in Butch's hands a lot of times. Do you remember we were in the piano room and you were doing an EVP session and I was recording you?
Actually, you were filming me.
That's why I was filming you.
Yeah.
And you had got an EVP of it was also a children's hospital.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
And you had got children. Now, here's the funny thing about that building. Excuse me. One weekend when I was down there, I was with Uncle Jeff. I'm sorry, we were down visiting my son. It just so happened to end up in the TB ward.
just happened to.
You had to go find a bathroom, right?
But listen, Butch, how long were those hallways? They were like, you got to remember these buildings are so big. There's the west wing, the east wing, the north wing.
They were quite a distance. It's like a big school.
Yep.
Right. And you know what? Sometimes when you're in an old building with peely paint, you hear like pebbles falling and paint chips. So you got to be careful. You don't want to jump to conclusions.
Yeah.
But these were actual little stones.
Yeah.
So we're in the west wing and we're hearing all this activity coming from the east wing. Uncle Jeff and I would hurry down to the east wing, and when we get to the east wing, it started going on to the west wing, and then we'd hear children giggling. So eventually, we finally got to one of the rooms, and it looked to me like a timeout room, like when children were in trouble. But I don't know that for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
We isolated the voices and the giggling and the playing from the children, and I go in there and I say, Jeff, it's got to be outside. He says, Harold, you're up on the ridges.
Yeah.
You're a quarter mile from anybody. And we're on the third floor. So if there's children here, you're in a college campus, Harold. There's no children. If there were, they're in the trees.
Yeah.
And it finally dawned on me that, hey, we're capturing some great audio here.
Yep.
That place was definitely haunted.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Well, when he was filming me doing the EVP session, we actually could hear with our own ears. We didn't even need a recorder.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody told us, get out.
Yeah. Somebody did not want you in there. Well, you were pushing it that day. For some reason, that day, I think I was a little bit nervous. Remember, I was apprehensive. I just felt uncomfortable, maybe because it was so hot out that day. I was just kind of miserable.
Yep.
But so I'll tell you another quick story that I've shared with Butch 100 times. One night, I went in the catacombs. I'll picture this in your mind's eye.
Yeah.
What is a catacomb? 20 feet under the ground, maybe? Or more. So 20, 30 feet under the ground.
Yeah. Yep.
These ridges are up on the hill, and there's 17 buildings. That's in the center of that is the Kennedy Arts Center now, which was the old asylum. And Jeff, Dana, this place is a city block long. I mean, it had to have 1,500 rooms, or probably even more than that.
Yeah.
And I'm down there in what they call the death tunnels. I'll put this in your mind's eye. When patients passed away, they didn't bring them through the lobby.
Yeah.
They didn't bring them down. They brought them down these special tunnels or catacombs away from that because it bothered people.
It's like Waverly Hills. They didn't want people seeing all the dead bodies being carted out.
It was like that at every mental hospital. Sure. Back then I can't remember if I had a small camera or Bertha or a bird. I don't remember. But I had my camera. I had an old cassette audio recorder going, a flashlight. See, I brought my flashlight. And I was with Uncle Jeff again. And all of a sudden we lost power to everything. Yeah. Now, you don't know what dark is until you're in an underground tunnel with no lighting. It's beyond dark. You ever hear they say a shadow figure is darker than the darkness?
Yeah. Yep.
That's this whole thing.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden you hear like a gurney's wheels moving. And it gets you kind of excited. Your heart's beginning to race. and you know you're in there alone. Come on, it's 3:30 in the morning.
Yep.
There's you. That store was left open intentionally for you. There's
Yep.
nobody in there with us.
Yep.
And
Your watch even stopped.
yep, I got the watch in the other room. I saved my watch.
Yeah.
It stopped at 3:27 a.m. Everything, every bit of power to everything we had went off.
Yeah.
And then you hear the wheels turning, and then you hear a woman. And I don't know if it was Margaret. I don't know. That's legendary. One of the hauntings where we can talk about it if you want. Help me.
Yeah.
Help
You know, we talked about this the other day about how like moments like that, like a lot of the TV shows, that's when it's time to go and that's when we leave. But I mean, I really think as much as I would want to say that I would stay there right after that, I think I would probably want to get out of that.
Well,
I mean, that,
yeah.
Hearing gurney wheels and stuff.
Mm.
Kelly's actually got a question real quick though.
Go ahead.
Kelly wants to know, she says, I went to the big cemetery around there and it seemed to be segregated male or female. Do you guys know anything about that?
She's in the state cemetery, and
Okay.
I don't know why they did that, but she's correct. Is that the one with the big angel in it? I think she's talking about the state cemetery.
Okay.
I'm talking about on Dairy Barn Lane. This is, you got to remember, there's two cemeteries. One is the psych cemetery. It was the St. Asylum cemetery.
Okay.
And that's up on the top of the ridges, right next to the TB. They tore the TB ward down 3 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
We did that building as well.
Yep.
Anyways, going back to the catacomb, my butt was against the wall.
Yeah.
Going out like this, back out a quarter mile.
Yeah.
Unnerved, unhinged.
Yeah. Yep.
I come back up. Jeff would open up the door. We got to the top of the stairs, and all the power of everything came back on except for my watch. My watch still to this day doesn't work.
Okay. Kelly said it was the psychiatric cemetery.
Tell her, Kelly.
Well, you can tell her, she's listening to you.
I'm away from my screen, so I can't see anything.
Okay.
Kelly, when you turn onto Dairy Barn Lane, where the Ohio University and the hotel is, okay, you can see the football stadium. Then you cross the street, you'll see the Ohio University, and there's Dairy Barn Lane. You go up, you bank to your right, and you follow around these 17 buildings. You get to where the water tower is, and it should be right across from the water tower. Now, remember, there's two cemeteries there. One's on the back side of the woods, and one's on the front side of the woods. So I don't know which one she was at.
I don't know. She'll probably chime in again. Didn't you guys two have another encounter in the car with some hitchhikers or something like that too, that you told me about once?
So many things down in Athens were so unexplained. And we went back a year after. I'll tell you this story real quick, and then you say it happened to us again with an older lady. Remember?
Yeah.
So the night after I got out of the catacombs, I couldn't sleep. I got back. It's probably 4 o'clock in the morning. I could not sleep. So at 5:30, I went out. I'm enjoying the weekend with my wife and children. So you got to imagine. So I got in at 4 a.m. and I'm leaving at 5:30 a.m. So it's right at sunrise. You got to remember, there's only one way into Dairy Barn Lane and one way out. There's not adjoining roads. So
okay,
I drove up there. Well, I saw a couple of deer cross by. It was kind of misty and maybe a little foggy. You know how it would be in Athens in September.
Yep.
Cool morning, warm days. And I bank around the cemetery. I got Uncle Jeff in the passenger seat with me. And I see these two older folks. And I told Jeff, I said, and I shouldn't say this, but, I call them Hills people because they were just dressed. Like
Appalachian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I meant. No disrespect to anybody because, obviously everybody knows the way I dress. So I thought, it's 5:30 in the morning. This isn't right. So I pulled over a little bit to ask them if they were okay. And God is my witness. The guy turns to me and he listen, nobody's going to believe this story. I should have had Uncle Jeff here because Uncle Jeff's the biggest skeptic in the world. He'll tell you this is true. He says, can you tell me where the hospital is? And right here's the cemetery.
Yeah.
And right there's the hospital. Yeah, it's right there. He says, were you in the asylum? Oh, no, I wasn't. Oh, yes. We're in the asylum last night. And it's like, you got to remember, I was in the cellar where the shackles are still on the walls.
Yeah.
I could tell a whole story about this. Listen, your hair's standing up. There's something very wrong with this. And then she looks up and she says, "Can you tell me where the cemetery is?" Well, they're standing 20 feet from the cemetery.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, 20 feet from the cemetery. Jeff has hit me on my knee saying, "Peel out.
Yeah.
Get out of here." And now I think I know who that lady was. Remember, we got an EVP from
Sarah Thomas.
You
Yeah.
did from the headstone.
No, Jeff did.
Okay.
If
So
Uncle Jeff was worth a shit, he would have got a camera out real quick instead of tapping you on the leg to leave.
listen, Uncle Jeff, and rightfully so. I mean, you don't know if this is paranormal. And then Jeff hits me again. He says, "Harold, they're gray. Harold, they're dead." And it's like I had an awakening. Like I was so worried about what's up on Dairy Barn. I was like, "Oh my God, they are." And I go, "No, sir, I was not in the asylum. The cemetery's right there."
Yep.
And this lady looks up at me and she says, "Tell your son Nick, I'll pay him a visit."
Oh shit.
Listen, God is my witness. Uncle Jeff will tell you this is the honest God truth. I about had an anxiety attack.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get away fast enough. And so we pull away. I go up an eighth of a mile is all to one of the buildings, and I turn back around because I can hardly believe what just happened. And Uncle Jeff's chirping at me. "I told you they're freaking dead. What's the matter with you? Don't turn around. Don't turn around." So I turn around and they were gone.
Yeah.
I mean, they were gone.
Yep.
And still to this day, I mean, it's 5:30 in the morning. I didn't have a camera rolling.
Yeah.
My camera was back in the hotel charging.
And that was way before cell phone cameras and
Listen,
all that
it was
crap
way
now that
before
everybody
any of
has.
that. I had a little phone top, probably cell phone type.
Yeah.
Listen, it's an honest to God true story. And to answer Kelly's question, and then, why don't you tell them about your EVP from Sarah Thomas in that cemetery?
I don't remember because Jeff had it.
This is how weird it gets, Jeff, Dana. About a week later, remember I got an email from a Sarah Thomas.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, and this is early days, when AOL, you got mail and you
Yeah.
It's like, this isn't possible. Nobody knows I was down there besides, my inside people. Asking me when I was coming back down to visit. It would listen, I monitored my son Nick to make sure some older lady didn't show up in his
Yep.
in the middle of the night. The whole thing was weird. And then we went back down and Jeff did an EVP session and got a clear Class A EVP from Sarah Thomas. So we're thinking it was Sarah Thomas that was in the cemetery. I got pictures of you doing EVP there.
Yeah, not to mention we went down there again. We were down there another time, and this old lady, which was gray, was walking a dog. She had an old car. It was like in the 50s.
Yeah.
And she stopped and talked to us for a while. And I don't really remember exactly what she was asking.
Yeah.
But
I walked away from her because it just the whole thing. I was not going to try to experience that twice.
Yeah.
The whole thing came back. Anyways, she put her dog into the car, got into the car. She says, "You guys have a pleasant day." And the way she went. And it seemed like a car disappeared when she went around the curve there. It was gone.
Yep.
You guys got to remember, Athens, Ohio was ranked the 8th most haunted place in the United States at one time. And Halloween is huge down there.
Yeah.
No matter where you go in Athens, it's homes. I mean, I don't know if it's linked to the Appalachians. I don't know if it's all linked to land. I don't know if it's linked to just the state asylum, but haunted as hell.
Yep.
Nothing's like that anymore, Jeff.
Yep.
Ohio University bought all the buildings. The last time we were there, we were escorted out of town by the police. I got a parking ticket, and they don't do ghosts. Now, I have pictures of the old cemetery. All those headstones that were all just numbers from 1 to 178. There was no names on these. Once you were admitted to this asylum,
Yeah.
you were no longer Butch Leaon. You were number 4172, and that's all you were. And they didn't care how they buried you. You know, the old religious way was bury everybody to the east.
Yeah.
But listen, there was a perfect circle, and that was linked to the Wilson's Hall where they did the
satanic stuff.
The satanic stuff.
Yep.
All those headstones are pulled now. They're gone.
Yeah.
So if Kelly's been there in the last 10 years, maybe that's why there's confusion between her and I with cemetery, because I'm describing a cemetery that doesn't look anything like that anymore.
Do you want to talk about on a live show what the dirty little secret is too, related to the headstones and the?
Well, you know,
I don't know if I want to say it without your permission because.
No, go ahead.
Okay, well, you had told me that they moved the headstones, but they didn't move the graves.
They did not move the bodies.
Right. They didn't move the bodies, so maybe that has something to do with it.
I was there late one summer. I was back there early next spring, and the headstones were moved, and I would have been able to tell if that ground was disturbed.
Right.
You just don't dig up.
Yeah.
You just don't dig up.
Yeah, you would know. Yep.
Absolutely. And I stopped at the library.
Yeah.
Listen, I stopped at the library. I talked with the local historian, asking her about it. By the time I walked out of the library, there was a police car sitting there. I had got a parking ticket. He asked me what I was doing, and I said, Uncle Jeff was with me. I said, we're getting ready to leave. He drove us to the city. He followed behind us to the city limits. Yep. They do not want, Ohio University does not want ghost hunting done in Athens anymore.
So is it truly gone down there now, or is it just that they just really, really have control over what's going on?
All the buildings have been totally restored.
Okay.
All the older buildings that could not be restored.
Right.
You got to remember, if you go to the Athens Messenger 3 or 4 years ago, there was a big fight going on to save the TB ward. Ohio University said there's too much. What's it called?
Vandalism?
No, the stuff that you get cancer from.
Asbestos.
Yeah,
asbestos.
they're all loaded with asbestos, so we're not going to redo them. We're going to tear them out, and they tore them down. Now, 90 or probably 80% of the Kennedy Art Center, which is the asylum, is either remodeled or it's blocked off as part of the building. They don't do tours.
Yeah.
They stopped all ghost tours and everything. Ohio University has put a stop to everything.
Let me say something about that brick my kid put in my car.
Yeah.
The TB ward, which was up on right next to the cemetery.
It was the top building.
Next to the hanging tree. My kid decided one day when I went down there and he came with me, he to put a brick from that building in my trunk of my car. So I took it home, put it in my basement, and all of a sudden stuff started happening.
Didn't you want me to get rid of it?
Yeah, I took it and threw it in a trash container that was probably 5 miles from my house.
Yeah.
And everything stopped.
Huh.
Just a regular old brick.
You know what was amazing about Athens when we go down there? I'm sorry, we're doing a show. I'm like talking to you now. All the surrounding areas, the Haydenville Tunnel, the Moonville Tunnel where we've been a few times. What was the tunnel I did last year? There was another tunnel up there. The Moonville Cemetery, which the Hockey Hills cabins use our pictures illegally. I shouldn't say that, but you got to remember, within 20 miles of haunted Athens, you have Moonville, which is an old ghost town. The only remnants there are some old foundations and a couple of the old, they weren't electrical wires, telegram wires.
Telegram,
the poles, and the old train, the Cincinnati Railroad, and so we had been to the Moonville. You got to remember, the first few years that Butch and I were together, we'd take a haunted road trip every year, and we'd spend 3 or 4 days together, in just these double bedroom places at night, having a beer after a nice ghost hunt, and we used to have a shit ton of fun. But
sounds like a better experience than your Bigfoot escapades.
Listen, no, Bigfoot is the shits, man.
But you need a better crew for your Bigfoot.
Oh yeah, I need a whole new crew. If I had to do this all over again, I probably wouldn't change a thing. But I'd have got hunting crypts. I'd have got into that a long time ago.
Yep.
Was that Einstein?
Let him in. So Butch, do you get into the Bigfoot stuff and
Steinstein
and aliens and any of that too?
I do think there was a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I go hunting down Nelsonville, which is not but 8 miles.
Yeah, you're
8 miles from Athens.
Yeah. Yep.
And on this ridge one time, I took him up there, showed him where we camped. This one guy, my son's brother-in-law, went down there to do some bow hunting, and he was sitting down there by himself one night, and all of a sudden he started hearing this, sounds and the hitting of the trees and all that stuff. He got so scared, he got in his car and he left.
That's crazy.
But,
yeah, Einstein's hitting the camera.
Yeah, he's trouble. From the
Einstein, what's up, buddy?
Yeah,
so
he's gonna love on Butch.
If we're 40 minutes in, I'd like to talk about another case too that's always fascinated me that you guys did a while ago.
I want to share with you a story before we leave this whole Athens. Come on, Einstein, get down.
You tell the story. I'm going to take my union break real quick, but go ahead and tell the story.
Since Butch wanted to talk about me falling a couple stories down to the cellar, I'm going to talk about a time at Moonville. Who's pushing down? So Einstein, he wants to be part of the show. Do you remember the time when we were in Moonville? We thought we caught a shadow figure stepping out of the wall, which we thought was the engineer.
And the night before, when we were in there, I was having bad feelings at that one spot.
Yeah, you had us leave.
Yeah,
that was one of the few times that you've struggled during an investigation. But there was like 12. I think they said 12 deaths over the course of 40 years in Moonville. So we did the Moonville Tunnel a couple of times too, and there's something to that. I'm not sure what it is. I've been there more times probably than you, but I've seen people struggle with that one too. The Haydenville Tunnel I thought was really cool. That's plugged up. See, a lot of these old places we
heard them guys whistling.
Yep, that's a lot of these places that we used to investigate are no longer there, or they're boarded up or closed up, and the authorities have gotten involved, and you're not allowed there. What was another great case that we were early on? Well, we did Door Street, which was odd. We did Windhurst. Why don't you talk about Windhurst?
But Windhurst,
that was the one. That was the one case where I've always said they were waiting for you to get there. They were probably
known that I was coming. I got a thing when I investigate. I turned my recorders on way before we even actually get going, and I set it down, and it was on the stairs to the attic. As we were headed up there, I heard this afterwards, on the recorder. And as I took the first 2 steps, this big gnarly voice says, "Hurry." And by the time I got halfway up the steps, this thing started snarling at me, It
was definitely waiting for you. What's pretty spooky about that is you're on your way up to the attic where the legendary most of the activity was. You got to. Don't mean to interrupt you, but I want to tell it the way it is. The attic is where these 4 college kids were having the trouble at night while they were in their beds on the first floor. The door to the attic would shake violently, and the father came over one night and put 4-inch duct tape all the way around it to seal off to make the girls feel. And then remember they were hearing the banging, and it ripped the duct tape right off. Yeah. So by the time
the cabinets off the wall in the kitchen,
right? So that was the attic that you were going into. So I always said you were one of the bravest investigators I've ever been. Like me, I was reluctant to go up there but I couldn't figure out if something wanted in the attic or more importantly wanted out of the attic. And you went up there and this thing was waiting for you. It's like, Butch, hurry, get up here. Like that's when I would turn around.
I think the last time that I had you on, Harold, actually, no, it was the first time. It wasn't the Halloween and it wasn't the other time, but we played a lot of these evidence clips, and we played those 2 EVPs, and we played the video where the dude comes around to the camera and cuts back.
People have the same house.
Yeah. Yep.
The same house.
I guess to wrap that early case on is this entity knew you were coming. It was waiting for you. It wanted you to hurry, and it followed you and Becky all over the house. Now we have a lot of EVPs that we never talked about. Like remember the burping and the farting.
Yep.
Just the most ridiculous things. This thing was in every room that you and Becky were in, and then at the end of the night, It scolded Becky, told her he's back in the attic and she can't come in, and then scolded all 4 students. Remember, you stupid students. Yeah. That was. I didn't get anything that night.
Butch and Becky seem to be a really, really good team as far as getting EVPs. It seems like a lot of the EVPs that you guys have come from Butch and Becky.
I was always the EVP king, always, up until Butch still scolds me. No, Becky and Butch are very good together.
Yeah.
And the cases and the documentation can prove that. Windhurst, Maxwell, Feltman. The list goes on and on. I'm sitting in an open, and I'm kind of arrogant. I think I do a pretty good EVP sense, and I know you're going to disagree, but there's no sense disagreeing here in front of everybody.
Yep.
Okay. Which is
we got a couple people that I just want to say hi real quick to Al Luna, who is I think this is the first time that he's watched our show, maybe not, but so we'd like to say hi to Al. And then
hi, Al. Just you guys having Butch on the show brings a real gnarly group, doesn't it?
Yep.
When Al Luna finally tunes in, we know it's Butch and it's not us for sure.
Yeah, it looks like they got a cool one coming up, the Indiana State Sanatorium.
Yeah, I saw that. They're going down, I think, this weekend.
Yep, that's cool. And then hello to Leslie as well from Fort Worth, Texas. So, man, that's a long ways away. How'd you tell us how you found us? I'm just curious. I mean, but anyway, go ahead, guys. Continue. Were you guys talking about that place, or did you want?
I don't remember what we're talking about.
You guys were talking about the college girls.
Yep, that was Windhurst.
Yeah, Windhurst. There's one that I really, really want to hear about, though.
What?
I don't know that you've ever talked about this like on a live show, or I know you've touched on it in classes and stuff like that, but I think of the cases that I've heard that you guys have done, one of the scariest ones, or one of the really craziest ones, other than like the Athens, that's more of a ghost hunt, not a paranormal investigation, but is the Door Street house.
That
do you agree with that, Butch?
That was one of the first ones that we did together, actually.
No.
I think so. Or no, there might have been a few.
I don't remember.
Anyways.
No, we did Cincinnati, Maumee Street.
Oh yeah. And
we
that's where we found the bone. And
that was on South Street. Yeah.
Butch, tell me a story about tell me something that happened to you at that Door Street house. And I don't have anything specific in mind. I'm just curious as to what your thoughts were on that case.
About
the first thing I did when I walked in there and seen this poor girl that she eventually died while we were investigating.
36 years old. Rosa's daughter.
Yep.
I had a feeling that there was voodoo involved in it. And
we found the Book of the Dead.
Yeah, I found that in the Book of the Dead and voodoo books and whatever. And eventually we got Harold's aunt in, which is a psychic, and she confirmed that there was some voodoo that was going on in there.
Yep.
Well, Rosa's folks were from Africa, if you remember.
Right.
And you want me to talk about it a little bit, or no?
I mean, what were some of the claims that brought you guys there? Because I know there was some pretty crazy shit that happened, like the toaster being in the dryer and
tell them about the water leaking.
Water coming through the ceilings. Refrigerators being thrown on the side, TVs and stuff stacked up. I mean, the big screen TV laying on the floor, furniture stacked up. It was various things. Him and I were walking from upstairs downstairs, and all of a sudden we heard a boom. Somebody threw a candle, come flying and hit the wall right near us.
Almost hit us in the head.
Yeah.
That was it sounded like a very, very violent something was there. I mean, that's why I'm intrigued by that case. I mean,
But wasn't the family almost in denial of people actually doing stuff in the house?
Oh yeah, didn't
they were in denial that the stuff that the kids were doing or something?
Yeah, didn't you guys catch the boy doing something? But obviously that wasn't all of the paranormal stuff that happened there. It was a mix.
When Butch and I took on this case,
I gotta let
I remember telling Butch, this is going to be a case of a lifetime. We're going to be here a long time. This is bad. Dana, some cases will haunt you for the rest of your life. I mean, anybody who's been a paranormal investigator knows how close you get with the clients. They know that a case is never over. They know that some things last a lifetime, and time has told us that. Rosa was a sweet woman, and she had a daughter who was 36 years old. She had 3 grandchildren, and Evan was the oldest one. And back in the day, I was very judgmental and very skeptic, and I always kind of blamed Evan for a lot of things until you set me straight by one thing you said: influence. This may not be the real Evan. He may be being influenced by these darker energies.
Yep.
And that was a game changer for me. We had a Baptist minister come in.
Yep.
There was a police officer that was killed in the house. We had my Aunt Patricia, high priestess, come in. We had black mirrorings, I think, done in the house. Sister Jordan, if I may say so, came in. So we had to. She even got touched. Yeah, we had a Catholic church get involved, and her arm was grabbed while she was there.
Yeah.
There was Jeff, Butch and I's upstairs, and you got telling the story. I'll never explain the way it makes you feel.
No, because I've seen the. I'll be honest with you. You gave me your hard drive once and told me to watch the video, but like you and I talked about one time too, how it's. One of the reasons we videotape like people, private cases, we will videotape the interview and stuff, is because when you're away from their house and you're watching the video, you can kind of see into their soul a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I watched that interview of those people, and you got a little glimpse into their soul, and they were definitely getting messed with, like hardcore.
Butch, you might agree. You do this long enough, and you're going to get a case where you cannot believe what's going on. It's you can't fathom these things.
Yeah.
And it's not a matter of science versus paranormal, or is this set up, or is this really happening? I mean, imagine this: we're upstairs in the bedroom. It sounds like a bomb goes off. We go running downstairs. Listen, 15 seconds goes by. There's a refrigerator on the side in the middle of the kitchen. The food is strung across the. You remember the paint and everything?
Yeah.
It was so destructive. And I'm thinking poltergeist. And I firmly believed it came from Evan. Listen, I'm not sure of anything. I'm not sure whether we're right. You remember the couch was in the middle of the living room up on end?
Yep.
And the TV set stacked on top of it perfectly.
Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable. Listen, I was there.
Yeah.
Actually, we were there about 8 times.
About 18 times.
Yeah.
I don't expect anybody to believe us.
No.
Do you remember I was down in the cellar, and one of the few times I regret being by myself, and you were in the house, obviously. I walked through the spider web thing, and I had a full-fledged panic attack. And it's like, I mean, I can't explain any of these things. All the things were being moved in the house and hidden, and they were hidden in the cubby hole in the cellar, and they were hidden in the most. It was taking the kids' clothes and their shoes, and
in the dryer,
right? And then Rosa called me one morning. Said she come down at 4:30 in the morning. It's hard to talk about some of these cases.
And she's an older lady, right? Rosa was. She was the mom.
My age, your age,
about your age.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
and she said she come down in the morning at 4:30, and her daughter was in the dining room on her knees praying. Which, I mean, I don't know. Went back, asked her if she was okay. She said yeah. She went back up to bed, come down at 6, and her poor daughter had passed away.
Yeah.
Natural causes, and she was 36 years old.
Yeah.
This thing was getting worse and worse, and poor Rosa would just call every other day, and I mean there was activity every day in it.
Yep.
You got to think about couches and refrigerators and shit moving.
I mean they've made movies based off of less hauntings than what sounds like was going on there.
If I wasn't there, if we weren't there, would you believe any of this? I wouldn't. No. I
See, and that's
then
we've talked about that too, though, is like you guys are clearly, I mean, at least with me, because I know you guys well, but credible people.
I wouldn't listen, but I don't blame anybody that's viewing this. I don't blame anybody for not believing it. It's there's definitely like, I mean, you guys tell me it happened, I 1000% believe you.
But there's a lot of investigators out there. If they told me something like that happened, I'd probably be like, yeah, I don't know about that.
Jeff,
they're like, you gotta bring me there, because that's pretty unbelievable
you
shit.
guys are paranormal investigators. We with the Door Street, and everybody tells me, Harold, you did all you could, and
yeah,
we exhausted all avenues. We brought the Catholic Church in, we brought Baptist ministry in, we brought a psychic medium in, we brought a high priestess in. We did every. Listen, we brought in a Catholic nun, and she just to interview the family, just counseling, just to help in any way we could. While she was there, she come out. Remember, she was grabbed.
Yeah,
I mean, and then I got mad. Remember, I went in the house. You sons of bitches, you don't touch her. You know, like you got to be careful what you do. Like, touch me, don't touch her. Well, you know, the next thing you know, saw an object thrown and almost back to your head.
Yep.
Listen, this story took a twist. We were there 12 times.
Yep.
Over the course of a year. We were. You got to admit, we were losing this battle.
Yeah.
Every time we tried something new, we were so geeked up and thought this was going to work. This was going to do it. Sage, holy water,
probably laughed at it.
Didn't have any effect on this.
Yeah.
Didn't have any effect on the children. Poor Dana, Rosa lost her daughter, and then Rosa talks about her father who lived next door, Mr. Williams, if I may say. I do you remember the interview? I sat down. I'm teary-eyed. Rosa, I don't know what to do. I think you need to move. Listen, Rosa. All the avenues we took, I don't know what else to do. I don't know how to save your family from this. Do you know how frustrating that is?
Yeah.
Especially for somebody who's as passionate about these things as I was back then.
Yeah.
I've never told a client it's best that you pack your stuff.
Yeah.
And get the hell out of here.
Yep.
I can't help you, and I don't know, not disrespect to other paranormal groups. Back then, I didn't know anybody else that was better than you. I mean,
and I would have, like, if I come across a case like that, I'm calling you guys, because you guys, you know what I mean? And even you guys being seasoned investigators, like, and with all this experience, I mean, you do come across cases that you don't know what to do.
How many times in this case did you and I look at each other and we didn't even have an answer for each other? No, we just looked at each other. We were both dumbfounded. Yep. Like, what the hell are we going to do, Butch?
Matter of fact, the landlord was about ready to boot her out of the house.
Yeah, because he didn't like to claim. So anyways, 2 summers or whatever went by, and Rosa's father, who was probably 90 years old, I'm sweating talking about this case, and says to me, I think yous and I's needs to sit down and talks a bit. I'm like, what? He says, you don't knows as much as you think you knows. You think you knows it all. I's here to tell you, you don't know. You don't knows everything. So I go next door and remember, sit down with the family. And I think Aunt Patricia was there for this interview.
Right.
And he wanted to tell me this, and I'm just going to share this with you.
Yep.
Quote.
Well, that's important.
Yeah. Every morning, you got to remember, this is a 90-something-year-old guy from Africa.
Yeah. Yep.
And his poor wife is sitting there. And I'm looking around, and she built little houses, and she did little art, and it's all smashed. Everything's smashed. All of her stuff's destroyed.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, oh my God, it's coming next door, and now it's attacking her mom and dad. Yep. Which what the hell are we gonna do? We didn't save Rosa. We didn't save Rosa's family. We didn't save Rosa's daughter, and now it's gonna take a hold of a 90-year-old couple. Oh my God, what have we done? I wasn't sleeping. Remember, I call you all the time. I can't sleep. It's bothering me.
Yeah.
So he says, "Sit down," and I sit down. He says, "Every morning is 5:30. Been doing this for 70 years. Not 5:35, not 5:25, 5:30. I gets up in the morning. I comes downstairs. I puts my coffee on, and I puts me a piece of bread in my toaster, just like I do every morning. This morning, and then I go to the bathroom, relieves myself." He said, "I put my coffee's on. I puts my bread in the toaster. I goes to the bathroom. I comes out of the bathroom and my coffee is gone. And I hears this horrible banging coming from the cellar.
Toaster.
The toaster was
Yep.
in the freaking dryer. So he goes down and gets his toaster, coffee pot, whatever, which one it was,
Yep.
out of the dryer. He brings it up, and now the other one's missing.
Yep.
It's banging from the cellar again. And he says, and he says, now the reasons they did that is because they's mad at you.
Yep.
And now they's mad at me. And that's yours fault. Now I visit these guys every morning. They sits at the foot of my bed. They's upset with you with all the goings on next door. It's best that you just leave. You remember that? Something like to that effect. It's like, holy shit, man. He knew about what?
That's when Jerry and Patricia came in and did a thing, and she found that there was like a porthole in between
Yeah.
the two houses.
Yeah.
Oh, how can Rosa and her family be saved when those type of goings on are going next door? And it was an African thing. It was it was a voodoo thing. It was listen, this is beyond.
And if the guy's going to continue to do it, you can't fight that. Like if he's not going to commit to
He
stopping.
brought these beliefs from Africa with him.
Yeah.
They turned on him because I was disturbing whatever energy or force there was. You and I were next door trying to get rid of it. And now they were taking it out apparently on him. More importantly, his wife. And she was a sweet old lady. But
they were taking her clothes out of her dresser and hiding them in the closet.
hiding them. More importantly, they cubby hole down the cellar.
Yeah.
They were hiding things.
We got a couple questions here from people that are watching. So sorry to interrupt your story, but I think we get the gist of that one. So Leslie from Texas wants to know, do you guys have a ritual for your own protection before you enter a place like that?
Yeah, we say a prayer to St. Michael, guide, protecting us.
Butch, do you do personal stuff? Do you do because I know we all do a group prayer, but do you do anything on your own in addition to protect yourself?
I wear a cross. That's basically it.
Okay.
I think we all have our own little things because I know
there's a couple things that I carry with me.
Yeah, because I know I wear a certain necklace and then I actually will bubble myself with certain things depending on where we're going.
Yep. And then
we could
go
get
ahead.
back to something. We had another one over on Richards Road where I got attacked while we were setting up, and I just couldn't go no more. I almost went out.
Yep.
You forgot to protect yourself, did you?
Yeah.
It was before the prayer started. You went romping in the house.
Yep.
Trying to find ghosts. My answer to Leslie is whoever your God is, whoever your protection is, no matter who it is, we all do things different. But I think any paranormal investigator, even ghost hunter, that gives it any thought at all, protects themselves. And this is all done with intentions.
Yep.
It doesn't matter to me who your God is. If I always tell my grandson to vision himself in a white light, like a bubble, next where nothing can get, and that works for him. So I guess Leslie, yes, the answer is we're not that naive to not protect ourselves because there's really bad things out there, and if you do this long enough, you may encounter them. I mean, I hope not, but
and let's.
I would say we also, though, at the end, we do the same thing. We say a prayer and we cleanse each other.
But let's be honest. I mean, if we're all being honest here, us four, we have gotten really, really lax as far as our entrance things and our exit things. I mean, do you agree with that, Harold? I mean, we've done some stuff, and I know, man, we haven't prayed at the end in a long time.
Yeah, I think, but I do the same ritual on my way home. I have a talk with God.
We've pulled over like in a gas station before, like that one house on.
Because I'm a freak. I don't like stuff coming home with us, even though we have stuff in our house right now and we have no idea what it is, but I am a freak about it. Like if usually I will do it on the property so it stays at the property, but we literally have stopped in
at like BP
in a gas station, and people like stop and stare because I mean obviously I got this big
it looks like we're smoking a big freaking joint out in the parking lot of BP.
I agree with you guys. I can't tell you how many times on the way home I've had to look in the back seat and say, "Okay, your ass is out of here.
Yep.
I know you're in this damn car. Get out."
So we're at an hour and 5 minutes. I I wanted to put this other question up here because this one comes from somebody that you know, and this sounds like something I've never heard. So,
yeah.
Philip LaCourse.
Hey,
Am I
happy
reading that right?
Phil, of course. Hey, Phil, how are you?
How you doing, Phil?
So he says, Harold, can you talk about the library on Collingwood and Central that you investigated? This is a story I've never heard, so this is all new to me.
Phil is an old timer, kind of like myself. Phil, you want to hear a funny story? This is not paranormal. Well, I don't know why Phil wants to hear it. He's heard it 1,000 times. Phil and Butch and I all met at a hockey rink 170 years ago. Phil
was that the game that Butch threw you out?
Phil, Butch. Phil was a great hockey coach and actually kind of a mentor of mine. He actually coached my son as well. Butch was a referee and a coach, and I'm just a little bit younger than both you guys. So I was coaching you guys were kind of mentors of mine when it come to hockey. I was coaching a couple of hockey teams at the time. That's how far Phil, of course, goes.
Yeah.
Phil, of course, is, if you talk to my middle son, Christopher, he's Uncle Phil every day of the week. My middle son is very successful and has a lot to do with Phil, of course. But I'm not going to get into that now. I'm sorry. What was your question, Phil?
No, he wanted you to talk about the library on Collingwood and Central that you investigated.
Was that the one? Was that the one where we were getting voices through it all? Phil, you're gonna have to remind. Phil, I think I'm starting to get dementia. I remember doing it, but I can't remember any. Look at all the cases. Like, you forgot Maumee Street, you forgot Cincinnati. You're forgetting. Guys, we've done so many cases.
Yeah, you guys have done a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
You just can't remember them.
Yep.
Isn't that weird? I know I've done it, but Phil, I can't remember. Phil, I hate to say that. I hate to admit that in front of everybody. My brain's gone blank.
Well, but there's some, though, that, like, let's be honest, like
Some
a Door
stand out
Street
more
is
than
going
other.
to stand out in your mind.
Well,
You know,
that's
a
gonna
Maxwell
affect-
house, that's going to stand out in your mind. I mean,
if there's cases that are going to haunt you for the
Yeah.
rest of your life, and that's just the way it is. You take on that responsibility when you take on a client. I mean, if you're going to do it the right way,
Yeah.
everybody does it differently, but it should affect you.
and everybody knows, too, like where I come from, and Harold is kind of getting this way, but you didn't start out this way. But, like, I totally believe, like, I love telling a good ghost story on camera, and, you know, I love doing ghost hunts like the Spaghetti Warehouse and, you know, and the, you know, other places that we've gone to. But the bread and butter and the real purpose, at least for me, is helping people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you guys are the same way. I mean, Harold loves to tell stories and he's trying to write a book and this and that and the other thing. But you guys have always, for years, your main motivation was to help people, not to make a video or write a book or anything like that. And I think that's, you know, shows a bit about your character and the fact that, you know, that's what it's all about to you guys. The core is to help people.
Well, you know, and here's the thing. I've been very lucky that I got to meet a guy like Butch. And after Butch and I started swapping thoughts and notes on the paranormal, I immediately dropped everything what I was doing in my life and said, I want to be with him. I trust this guy. It has been such a fun ride being able to investigate with Butch. And how many times, I mean, I tell you all the time, I put my life in your hands.
Yep.
If anything ever happens to me, I hope and trust that, and I do, that Butch will be there for me. Yep. I couldn't have had any more, and we've had some pains. We've had some disagreements over the years. I mean, you've gotten really pissed off at me a few times, but I think our goals were the same. What we were trying to do and what we were trying to achieve was the same. Yep. And I wouldn't change a thing. As you, the founder of Togs, I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass either.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change a thing of the way things are.
It's good to butt heads, though. It's good to fight and argue a little bit. You know,
Well,
I mean, that's a good mix.
I think one of the times him and I butted heads is at Collingwood.
I knew that.
No, tell this story, but shut up, Harold.
You guys
You're
were
in
there.
timeout.
You actually went down and did the filming.
Yep.
It had a great big floor stage thing, come a 4x8 sheet of plywood
Yeah, it was
or
a
whatever
stage
was
riser.
coming down, hit me and Uncle Jeff.
Yep.
And he says, well, let's go back down there. And I went off on him. And I said, I'm freaking leaving. And before we left, getting back to that other question, protection.
Yep.
We got together. I said a prayer. We all said a prayer, and everything calmed down.
Yep.
You're full of shit. You went home and slept.
Well, you did, but
You went home and passed out. You were exhausted. Let's see. Here's the other thing. Listen, I hope nobody's listening to us. I say all these nice fucking things. Oh, all these nice things about you, and then you got to say that shit. I take back everything I said. No, I shouldn't have done that. Butch came up and had a really bad experience, and I said, well,
No, you should have done that, but you should have at least phrased it in the form of a question like Jeopardy.
Yeah,
What do you say we go back down there?
Yeah, I said, well, what are you doing standing here? Get back down there.
But Harold Harold, you do know you like to do that to a lot of people.
Yeah,
It's like, you know, they have a reaction, and then it's like, well, let's push it a little bit
But
further.
Dana, tell me if I'm wrong. It wasn't going to kill Butch, or it would have.
we got close.
It didn't kill Butch, or it would have. But if you don't go back, or if you don't stay the course, you're never going to forgive yourself that you will not be able to experience what may have happened next.
Okay. There is an exception to that, because I would have forgave myself for not doing what you did to me. I will just put that out there.
No.
But that being said, too, you gave me a tongue lashing too on a place we were at, because I got spooked for a second. I was like, dude, I gotta back out for like 10 seconds. You came straight up to my face and said, you know, suck it up. This is what we're here for. You're a professional investigator. Act like it. Well, and you were right. Well, I wasn't in danger. I mean, I just got spooked.
The thing of that, Jeff, is we were there working. We were there trying to help a client whose family was in trouble.
Yeah,
that's totally different. Sometimes we got to roll up our sleeves. Yeah. Sometimes we're going to see and experience things we don't want to see. We don't want to experience them. But you know, that's what makes you special. I mean, look how many people we meet in this field. You and I are friends for a reason.
Yep.
Because I believe in you and I have faith in you. And I think when things get really scary, like in Door Street with Butch, we're going to stay the course, even if it changes your life. Yep. Believe me, some of these cases have changed. I don't know about you, but they have changed my life. They changed my way of thinking. They changed but it all goes back to why I started doing this, why you started doing this, was for the same reason. And together we thought we were helping people.
Yep.
Unfortunately, sometimes there is no answers to the questions. Sometimes science and the paranormal are not on the same page.
Yep.
Some things have been proven years later. And I've always said, sometimes scientists got to get out of the lab and see some of the things that you and I have seen. Yep. And maybe we'll get somewhere.
Yep.
I don't know what else to say about all that besides, bucket up cupcake.
But that was the right thing to say, especially because, like I said, I was not in danger, but something walked up on me from behind, and it spooked me a bit. But you know, you're right. I needed to hear what you said. So, well, but at the end of the day, too, here's the deal, and you guys probably feel the same way about each other. Like, you will definitely push people a bit, but you won't ever push anybody into something that's going to harm them. And you will always supervise and watch,
right?
And make sure that you're the first one there if something, and there's nothing wrong with that.
That's why I'm so close to Butch. Butch will take the bullet for me. Butch has taught me that. He'll take the bullet instead of me getting it. And I tried to do that with the investigators that I'm working with as well. And it's something that Butch has taught me. Listen, when the chips are down, it's the middle of the night. You're in total darkness. Something bad's going on. Families are suffering. People are dying. Objects are moving. I wouldn't do this with anybody else than him.
Yep.
I mean, obviously I am now, but we're still together.
I'm going to shift gears again because we have another comment in the comments. So it looks like this Leslie from Texas has a first-time investigation coming up. She won a raffle, The New Reality, that I follow on YouTube, and they have. I think I've seen.
That sounds familiar.
That sounds very familiar. But anyway, so this is going to be her first investigation. She's wondering, should she take any extra measures to protect herself?
Because she's recovering from a total hip replacement.
Yep. I mean, what would your advice be to a first-time ghost hunter?
Well, Butch may feel differently about this, but I think a lot of it depends on your belief system.
Hang on 1 second. No, provocation is not good, especially if it's your first time. So,
No,
but go ahead, continue.
And I think religion plays a factor in this. You know, you can say anywhere from holy water to Palo Santo for its sacred tree in Mexico. Whatever your belief system is, whatever you believe, stick to your guns and use that as protection. There's a time to provoke. There's a time to do these. And a first investigation, I don't care where you're at, it's neither the time nor place. And Leslie, what's more importantly, I mean, if you're on a public ghost hunt, it's one thing. You know, it may be forgivable, but if you're in somebody's home and you are provoking,
that's definitely not.
Listen, that's not fair to anybody. You're doing.
You get to go home at the end of the night,
right? And now you've wakened the dead. And you've left it with the client. So follow your heart, and if you have a good heart and you're there to help people, you do the right thing. Protect yourself.
And Leslie, too, I would add this, that, you know, these guys have been doing this for years and years, and you know, this, you watch stuff on TV, but like, until you actually, I mean, this stuff is real bad stuff can happen to you, especially if you like provoke and things like that. Like, this isn't an episode of Ghost Adventures where it's over in an hour. I mean, I don't know that I want to go as far as to say I had an attachment, but I definitely had something dark follow me around for a 5 or 6 month period. And it really, man, it affected everything. So, I mean, it's real. And
also, when you are like, if you are doing anything to protect yourself, you have to believe fully in what you're protecting yourself. If you don't believe in what you're doing, then it's not whatever you're doing to, like, if you're asking for St. Michael, archangels, anybody to protect you, if you fully do not believe in what you're saying, it's not going to protect you.
Don't just print off a prayer off the internet and say, "Oh, this is going to protect me." Like you have to personalize
you can
it.
use those prayers for guidelines, but it has to be full-hearted, fully felt from you. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
Absolutely. And be an open-minded skeptic when you're doing it. You know, here's the thing for your first-timer investigators, Butch, all these years, we've maybe got a couple of hours of evidence. If you play all the EVPs right in a row in the video, we've probably got a couple, 3 hours of evidence. And we've got thousands of hours of investigating in. You could be in the most haunted location in the world and say this coffee cup flies across the room every day.
It takes less than a second.
Right, and that's 30 seconds a month. So you know, enjoy yourself. No need to provoke. No need to go to the dark side.
And you can, like, we had fun a couple weeks ago at the old mill. You know what I mean? You can have fun doing it, but just know that if this is something that you want to get into, there's definitely aspects of it that aren't fun. When you have people call you at 2 a.m. because, you know, they're seeing some stuff hold their wife down in bed. Like, I mean, that's not fun.
I can remember my mother telling me when I was a younger investigator, she said, "Where are you guys?" So we're going to go out, ghost hunting. She goes, "You kids have fun now. You kids have fun now. Don't bring anything home."
Now, my mom would have taken my ass to church the next day. She was, "You're not going anywhere, and you're going to church tomorrow." Twice.
She goes, she's a sweet, and she lives in a haunted house. She'd ask next, "Did you kids have fun? Did you guys talk to dead people?"
Your mom's a trip, man. She's great.
I love her.
Yep.
All right, what else, guys?
I don't know, man. We're at an hour and 20. I mean,
you might want to cut this thing off. Butch is gonna go pick up Emily, don't you?
Oh, you got to pick somebody up. So anyway, like I said, I guess I'll wrap it up then. Like, I really just wanted to, you know, get some ghost stories from you guys, because people want to hear. I don't know. Everybody likes to hear a good ghost story sometimes, and they weren't all good. I mean, there were some dangerous ones, but that Athens stuff, that fascinates me. I wish the video technology was around then that it is now, because man, we could make one hell of a good story off of that one. And that's the kind you tell a story about. You don't tell a story about like the Windhurst, you know. I mean, as far as on camera
that we had down in
you're taking an opportunity to throw me under the bus again, aren't you?
do it.
We went down to what's the name of that town? I can't remember it. Where Mothman was.
Oh, Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. I'm going under the bus.
Yep. Do it.
We come across.
And I talk so nicely, dude.
No. Harold, you're 30-second timeout.
We got to go. I said, well, let's go down this street here, and this will happen. That street led us right to the Mothman statue in a thing, a museum there we went into, and the guy gave us directions to the
open bunkers, TNT bunkers.
TNT bunkers. So we went out there. As
Brian was his name. You and him hit that off. Go ahead.
we get out there, go through one of them. Dark there. I mean, you can't see your hand in front of your face.
Yep.
That's how dark it is in there. We go into the next one. Uncle Jeff's standing. He's coming, following me. Basically, he's got his hand on my shirt, following me, and I'm following him because he's taking videos. And all of a sudden, whoever this was did a 3D painting of Mothman on a wall.
It jumped out of the wall.
And it sort of jumped, yeah. And he grabs me and he pushes me.
Here's another thing in common in all your guys' stories.
We just discussed this. You're never going to forgive yourself if you don't go after the Mothman and protect me.
Here's something in common too in all of your guys' stories is that Uncle Jeff is always there, but never does anything.
No, he bitches at us.
He's always there.
No,
every story is Uncle Jeff is there.
Listen,
but you know what? It's not as much fun if Uncle Jeff's not there.
This is true.
But let me tell you something before you guys close the show. Uncle Jeff and Butch together, like that's just too much for me to take.
Yeah.
These guys don't realize that sometimes at the tech table or close to the tech table, I leave a recorder. You ought to hear these two guys talking shit about me.
Yep.
Like Uncle Jeff saying, he's just an asshole. He thinks he knows everything. I'm never with him again. I agree, he's being a real asshole tonight. And I think, holy shit, man, they're both going at me.
And now too, we've got, our, like my DVR cameras, they have microphones, and you guys have been on investigations where I'll run microphones all throughout the building. So pretty much there's no safe place to go talk shit about somebody without being caught.
Plus then that other new recorder you have, that is super tight. I mean, that picks up the smallest little whispers, and it's just like, can't say anything. Got to learn to do sign language or something, because when you're on investigations, if you say anything with some of the stuff anymore, where there's no cameras or.
The truth of the matter is, Butch and I are partners, but every time Uncle Jeff's with us, it's him and Butch against me.
Yeah, it's a team up.
Yeah, and you shouldn't say the nasty things they say, like, call me fat and call me bad names. It's just not right. I'm trying to enjoy myself. Talk about the Mothman, and then I know you got to go. You got to admit, if I had to do it all over again, I would go after more crypts. The Dogman, Skinwalkers, Bigfoot, Yeti.
The Dogman is definitely something I want to do. Like, we need to do that in the next year or two. And it's almost like we have to do it like this time of year or October. Right. You know what I mean? Because you can't roam around them woods when everything's green and shit.
Well, we have Ohio's grass, man. I'm going to go down again in April to do some of my professional.
You taking a different filming crew with you?
I think so.
Because there again, Uncle Jeff is involved, but he's not really doing anything other than falling down the hill and stuff.
Listen, I told everybody, told Becky and Uncle Jeff, okay, we're going to head out at midnight. The witching hour. So at midnight, I got all my stuff all together. I got my gear. I'm ready to head out to the woods, and they're both in the hot tub, and they're both drunk.
Yeah, I was going to say, if Becky and Jeff are like, wait a minute, it's 6 o'clock, and you want us to stay sober until midnight? What the hell is wrong with you? We're on vacation.
Years, I can see Butch and I are partners, but Jeff is always in conspiracy with him. Becky's always in conspiracy with Uncle Jeff. I think it's Uncle Jeff.
No, dude,
he recruits everybody to. You know what Uncle Jeff said a couple years ago? You're no longer in this group. You're out. Nobody needs you. Nobody likes you. You're too bossy. You're way too pushy. You're out. You're no longer part of
it. I can see him saying it too.
Yep. Well, he did say this to me one night. You guys came over to Dana's mom's house, and Uncle Jeff, we had several cocktails, and Uncle Jeff gets in the car and he went, like, I don't know what that dude said, but that was the funniest shit in the world. He's hilarious.
He says the same thing to me, and he ends up, Come on, Harold.
Now you got to admit, at the wedding would
That's
not
how
have
he got
been the
invited
same.
to the
The
wedding because of that.
Because of that is why we invite. Well, no, he's Uncle Jeff too, but we but he was an interesting part of the wedding too. So
he's hilarious. God
yeah,
love him.
that's yep. Well, hey, we're gonna end the show since it is St. Patrick's Day. I've got the Jamesons. No one else is gonna join me because Harold didn't
hang on 1 minute. Hey,
all right,
Beck,
hurry up.
Becky.
I'll pour and wait.
Butch,
if you gotta leave, you can go ahead and
I hope you have us on again because there's a lot of stuff we could talk about.
yeah, oh yeah. Hell, dude, we could talk to you guys for
forever.
Beck, bring up the beer and the shot.
You guys could do a show with just you two talking about all of the crap that you've done. You know, take one case a week or something like that, and you guys could do a show.
Did you not hear all the wonderful things I said about that man?
Yeah.
And you got to bring up the Mothman. But I said, dude, run.
Well, in all fairness, too, you did say he's going to bring up 3 things.
Yeah.
And I checked them off, and they were all.
I got lucky.
They were all mentioned.
I don't think I'm going to do a shot. Becky's not bringing it up.
Is she in bed?
See you guys later.
See you, Butch.
All right, we'll see you, Butch. Thanks for coming on, man. That was enjoyable.
Yeah, it was enjoyable. Thanks for having me.
I'll talk to you tomorrow, Butch.
Bye, Butch.
All right, we'll see you.
All right, guys. I guess I'm not doing it.
We'll just go grab them. We'll sit here and BS with our. With
We'll
our
call
people
for
a second.
Einstein.
Yep.
Hang on.
Hang on, Kathy.
Where's
Don't go nowhere.
Einstein?
We got to do our traditional St. Patty's Day stuff. But no, it's good to like. I do like having newer people like this Leslie that was on tonight asking questions about like. I mean, you can private message us questions about if you're new at this. Ask us anything you want.
Definitely,
We're totally here
and
to answer any questions. And
especially if you're going on that,
anyway.
if you're going on that first time investigation, definitely if you want to reach out to us, you can message us on Boo Productions, and Jeff or myself or both of us will respond because we can give you, especially if you, or we can give you options as a sensitive, a skeptic, and I mean all because we're like weirdly enough we have just between us we have a lot of different views and different things that we take on, but we also have other people that can help us if need be.
But also too, it's not going to be like, I don't know if you watch the TV shows, but it's not going to be like that.
It's not going to be like that.
Like you may very well go somewhere and sit there for 3-4 hours and absolutely nothing will happen. And you can go take your recorder home and listen to it and absolutely nothing will be on it. I mean, we've been on tons of those but then there's other ones where like I said, you can really, so that Collingwood that Butch was talking about where he got that thing thrown on his head, we weren't there investigating that. That was a Paracon. Yeah. And he just happened to walk in the basement and like that happened. You know what I mean? It was like, I mean, you never know when stuff is going to happen, especially the Collingwood was nasty for a few years.
And at the Collingwood, every time you go there, it's a totally different experience. And so it's like, and sometimes it's like you have good things, bad things. It doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter if you're going for an investigation, if you're going for some type of like for a theater, it doesn't matter. It's always something.
Because Collingwood, we never, like when we went there for the Paracon, we didn't do any prayers of protection.
Nope.
And look what happened. Like, in addition to Butch getting screwed up and Uncle Jeff, they both got hit by that stage riser.
We're only going to do, you're not going to drink all this at once.
Oh, dude. Anyway, so like I was saying, like, and I had a really good friend of mine get scorched and burned. Yeah. There's a video on Haunted Toledo's YouTube page, and I don't know, it says something about the Collingwood, but I filmed that, and that was a very good friend of mine, and like that was some real nasty stuff, and she was affected by it for a long time afterwards. So I mean, that can happen.
I mean, there's one spot in the Collingwood I've been affected by, and I don't go down in that area because I'll go everywhere else in that building, but I will try, but it's like, it usually does not work out. And I'm back
Shelly's been on, she's one that's like, she doesn't have a team or anything like that, but Shelly does a lot of ghost hunts and things like that. And she said she was nervous her first time. Just say a prayer and take a deep breath and it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Is Becky in there with you?
Yeah, she's coming.
We'll have her sit down.
She is. Okay, I got the shots poured.
We can turn this into the Joe Rogan experience for 3 hours. I don't give a shit.
I got the shots poured.
All right, me too. I don't have no Guinnesses or nothing like that. So,
well, what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna do a shot of Jameson's.
Well, you're not doing an Irish car bomb.
I can't. I don't have cream
Well,
and
then why the
beer
hell
and-
did I do all this?
I just
We don't
want-
know why you
I
did
just
it.
said I was doing a shot.
I didn't think we were going to do it on camera.
Guinness.
Hang on a second. You guys
Brew
got to do a
and
race
double.
because Becky, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't you win last year?
I won every year.
Yeah, she
See,
won
but now
last
we'll
year, dude, I'm
have
telling you.
proof.
And I don't even like whiskey, and I don't like beer.
Yeah.
So we'll have proof that Becky can beat Harold at this now.
Yeah, he
And
may
we'll
get
let-
me this time. I was downstairs sneakily eating pizza and cinnamon rolls, so I don't know.
We'll let Harold pour so he doesn't accuse you of cheating like he did earlier.
Oh no, yeah. I have every bit as much as I have.
He said that you didn't drink the same amount. That's why you beat
See,
him
now
last year.
tomorrow is going to be our Shamrockin' Day because we're doing the Shamrock Shuffle down at the Blarney tomorrow.
Oh,
So we'll be doing our
Hey,
celebration.
Dana, will you do me a
tomorrow.
favor? Will you take out your cell phone and take a picture?
I
of,
can't.
Why can't you take a picture of Becky and I doing this?
I can't.
that's
Hey,
Oh, I
hey,
think-
this is being recorded. I can
Yeah.
download it. I can send it to you. Now we're getting
Hang on,
phone
it's
calls.
her son. She's
This
just-
show has gone to shit, man. We're getting phone calls and
Hey, Jamie.
Okay.
I'm gonna get ready to do an Irish corn bomb.
Oh my god.
hi, Jamie.
It's like, hi.
Okay, let me look at the moon in the east.
It is a great moon tonight.
Yeah, tomorrow's full moon.
Okay.
So it's going to be interesting. Tomorrow is full moon in the Shamrock Shuffle, and I
Yeah.
am going to be drinking, so it might be a scary thought because that does not usually a good.
We're gonna see if we can crash our new
Great.
car.
No,
guys,
weird. Oh
guys.
yeah, the leprechauns left me
Guys.
a new car.
You ready?
Hang on,
Listen,
we got a judge.
Listen. Go get Boo. I want Boo to judge this.
No,
Okay.
Boo
Alright,
is not.
she's
No,
watching,
she's got
she's watching.
crossed eyes. She's not going
Okay.
to do that.
Ready?
Wait,
I'm gonna count you down. Ready?
wait. Are you guys drinking a shot or what are you doing?
I've got one,
Jeff
but we
is-
gotta
I
judge
am.
you. That's more important.
I'm judging, so you guys can go.
I'm out of
Okay.
practice and I'm stuffed.
Okay,
Alright.
I'm gonna say 3, 2, 1, go, and then so here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh,
Oh,
Oh, it's
won
Harold
year.
this year.
I didn't
He
have it.
definitely-
33-0.
No,
No.
you
What
definitely
the
lost
hell?
last year. I remember.
Okay.
Did you fill hers full of foam?
Talk
Yeah, I
about
think
it.
so.
Too foamy, and it was the stout, which is like
Yeah,
It's too
Hard.
stouty.
stout.
the stout is too stouty.
It's
Nope,
too
nope,
stouty.
nope, nope,
Jesus.
nope.
Okay, guys. Happy
Uh-oh.
St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, we got a little side project going on here with
Cheers.
Oops, that was the wrong comment. This one.
It will
Yeah,
be
so,
interesting
yeah,
to me. Oh
Rachel-
yeah, my friend Rachel. It's first time she's actually going out with us afterwards for for the well. Yeah, I am not going. I am not wearing the flashing lights this year. 2, Jeff already knows my family, so I don't have to worry about getting locked in a porta pot and having him try to find my family and meeting my family for the first
Yeah,
time.
I got a call from her last time, and she was locked in a porta john with flashing shamrock necklace.
and I couldn't.
Hey,
the
she
lights
didn't know
were
where the
going
hell
so
she
fast,
was. It
I
was
got
hilarious.
dizzy.
Hey,
And
are
Yes.
you going to get beads?
oh, I already have my beads, and beads are ready to go.
No,
I
I think
heard
he's
the
asking you
beads.
if you're going
You
to
gotta
earn the
earn the
beads.
beads.
Don't start that kind of talk.
Okay.
Very toxic.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It did, well, yeah, it depends on how the drinking goes.
That's it. There
So
might be some beads involved.
you never know. And then we
I'm gonna
have,
put some in my pocket.
but then I believe we should not go to that corner restaurant. The what was it? The Boars, whatever,
The boar's nest
or
or something. Is that
Bulls about
cock and bulls?
Cock and Bull. There.
Yeah.
Crack and bowl.
We probably are not going to go there because my mouth does not stop there.
Yeah, she had some issues
Yeah.
with some censoring issues.
A lot of censor issues.
She definitely
there.
would have lost her Facebook account if Facebook was recording it.
Your hair looks good, Dana. I saw you get up close to the
My what?
your hair. I like your hair like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm like in a that with it because it's in the middle of needing to be cut because it wasn't cut really the way I wanted it. So it's kind of like a eh. But thank you.
All right. Well, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna end the show, and then Becky, stay in there because we're gonna chat for a couple minutes offline. So, thank you everybody for watching, and enjoy your St. Patrick's Day, and have a green beer or something. And we will talk to you hopefully next week.
Hopefully next week.
Yeah,
Thanks for
hopefully.
joining us, guys.